What is good? This is the OG Bronc Nuts. 719 West here for the Broncos post-game show. I'm going to give a couple minutes here for people to get in the stream, and we'll get to talking about the game, what happened good, what happened bad, things people are upset about, and I'm sure there's going to be a few people upset about this game. Broncos find a way to choke another game away, a fourth quarter lead, which is just really hard to watch as a fan. But there were some good things that came out of this game, and I want to talk about some of those things. So if you're just joining the stream, let's give it a few minutes, let some people get in here, and we'll get her started. Let me get it pulled up here on my laptop so I can see the chat. Oh, man. NFL games are a wrap today. Last one between the Bears and Rams is still on. Boring game. Nobody can score in that game. But and still got the Monday night game in Mexico City. But we're going to talk about the Broncos a little bit tonight and the game they had with the Vikings. And it's another tough one for Broncos fans to stomach because definitely a game that I really think that, you know, looking back on it, I got to put this loss squarely on the shoulders of our coaching staff because I believe that we did enough to win this game, but I feel like in the fourth quarter, especially on one of those last drives where we had a 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7, and we decided to run the ball, which put us in a 4th and long situation, and we ended up having to punt, which cost us a chance to score. And then we had that situation happen on the very next drive. And the very next drive, we converted the 4th down and, you know, gave ourselves a chance to win, but missed a big opportunity right there before half when we were up 20-0. We get the turnover and we throw the interception. Now, to me, I don't know what you guys saw, but I don't feel like that interception was on Brandon Allen at all. I really think it was on Noah Fant. Noah Fant stopped his route. He didn't cut it to where he thought it. I think if you look at Allen was really confident in that throw. He had no pressure. He stepped into the pocket. He was confident of where he was throwing the ball, and Noah wasn't where he was supposed to be. And then at the end of the game, you know, our first-round draft pick, Noah Fant, gets dotted in the face with a football and doesn't even get hands on the ball. Brandon Allen played a great game, didn't turn it over, took his medicine when he had to, just took care of the ball, had the one turnover, but again, I can't even put that interception on him. I really think it was on Noah Fant. And look, Noah did some good things in this game, but I think it just goes to show that, look, this guy's got a long ways to go before he becomes a seasoned pro here, especially as a first-round draft pick. He's not contributing enough. He does just enough in every game to hurt us. And so, you know, I'm Cortland Sutton had a little case of the drops when he first came here to Denver last year. And, you know, when you look at this year, I mean, the guy don't drop nothing. And I think he's had one drop since this whole year. His drop ratio is like 2%. And he had a case of that last year here a little bit. And you've seen there were some great things out of him. And we had a lot of hope and promise for Cortland Sutton. I'm just hoping that Fant falls into that same category. But the guy is doing things to help us lose football games that we could win. But, you know, I don't want to put it squarely on his hands. I mean, coming down to that last play, I think we had good play calls called, and we just didn't get it done. And it's a shame that, you know, Allen played as good as he did and got us in a position to win the game, hits Fant in the face mask. I mean, it literally just hit him right in the face. He threw it into a mouse hole. And Fant doesn't even get a hand on it. And if anything, he could have been called for pass interference. He had a little bit of a shove off. And I just don't think he's either learned how to use leverage or his body position or how to get open quickly, get his head around, get his hands up and make plays. I mean, I think it was the right play call. I just don't know if it's the right play call to that guy in that type of situation. But first round draft pick, you got to get thrown in the fire and you got to make those plays. And Noah Fant just not making those plays for us. But I give the Broncos credit. You look at the beginning of that game, I think in the first half they only had under 100 yards, I think, and they couldn't make first downs. I mean, Dalvin Cook really couldn't do a whole lot against us, and we were playing good defense. I mean, it's not a secret. Denver's got a top 5 defense. This is a good defense. But you can't give, offensive teams that are good, such as the Vikings, multiple opportunities, because eventually they're going to beat you. And you do that by making mistakes. And I think we got a little complacent with the play calling at the end of the game. That being said, I do like the scheme that the Broncos came up with. I mean, who's ever seen a reverse wide receiver pass option on 2 consecutive plays ever in the NFL? I don't think that's ever happened. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments section here, and we'll get to the comments here in a minute. Has there ever been a 2 plays in a row where any team has done that, where we've run a reverse to a wide receiver and then it was a run pass option? And I don't. It's just really nice to see that Sutton's got all of those moves and all of those things in his bag of tricks, because it helps when he is a decoy. You got to respect him. I said from the second we drafted him, this guy's got phenomenal size, speed, power. He's just, gone to a small school at SMU, and Cortland Sutton's going to be the next big name wide receiver in the NFL. Book it. And I think, you saw Tim Patrick make some nice plays today. Brandon Allen dropping balls and times. And Brandon Allen, quarterback, ain't our problem. He can move our offense. And I think with a little bit more experience, he's going to be able to step up in that pocket a little bit better, maybe shake a pass rusher to extend the play, things that Aaron Rodgers and Mahomes and some of the good quarterbacks do. But that comes through just gameplay and experience and just, instinct, something I was talking about last night in my video. So I hope that Brandon Allen keeps playing the way he does, because if he is, I have no problem with him at quarterback right now. None. He is not the reason the Broncos are losing. He certainly played well enough for the Broncos to win today. Let's get to the stream. A Fizzle Productions, CA Sports Stock Jockey, Samuel Walters, Casey Kidd, 1992, Little Rand Man, Nikolai Courtney. Who else we got up in here? Welcome to the stream, man. I appreciate you guys showing up. I'm gonna get to some of your comments, see what you guys think about this game. But man, just Samuel Walters. Well, we almost had it, and he dropped the pass. Well, he didn't even drop it. He didn't get his hands on it. Which, that's disappointing, because you just want so much more from a guy that you've invested such a top spot in. The one thing that I can say that is good, we saw some good things out of Noah Fant. That pass, that first down, that big first down that he caught on that first scoring drive, real high pass. Brandon put it in a perfect spot for him to catch it, come down with it, turn it up, and get some more yards. But you got to give a good shout out to the quarterback for putting the ball in that spot. Noah did some good things for us. He does. He's got some promise, got some things that we're like, okay, this kid's got tools. He's got skills. He can make a difference. He can make plays. And that's more than we can say about any tight end we've had here. Really since Julius Thomas. That was a 1 or 2 year thing with him and Manning, but Noah looks like we're going to be okay with him, but he's just got to become more of a pro, because he's costing us games. He just really is killing drives. Get frustrated with that dude. It's like a love-hate relationship with him. Stock Jockey Steam Monsters is so much more fun. For those of you that don't know, Stock Jockey is over there like one of the rest of the smart ones on the Steam blockchain, and there's a game built on that blockchain called Steam Monsters, where you can actually pay and play for free. And you can win money, actually. You win it in the form of cryptocurrency that you can trade for Bitcoin and trade that for gold or cash, whatever. But that's what he's talking about by that comment. But Steam Monsters is more fun. That's funny. Let's see. What else we got? Samuel Walters says, you already threw your Broncos stuff out the window. That wasn't me. I don't know who you're talking about. I'd never throw any of my Broncos stuff off. Come on, dude. I'm back to 1960 tonight. Think everything's leaving my collection? No. Oh, man. Broncos should have won the game. Yeah, well, look, we should have won that game, the Jacksonville game, the Colts game, the Bears game. Could have very easily won the Packers game. But the fact of the matter is that we didn't win these games. We had the chance to stop these teams. We had the chance to close this game out. And we didn't get it done. And as good and as dominant as the Broncos looked, you got to play 4 quarters in the NFL. And we did not do that tonight. We didn't do it. And we didn't cash in our opportunity to go up 27-0 at halftime. Had we cashed in on that, we'd have won the football game. They scored 27 points. We didn't cash in. We threw that interception. And again, I can't put that interception on Allen. That interception, I watched the replay a couple times. It's on Noah Fant. He stopped the route. So I also thought, that first play of the game when we got penalty called back where we missed Sutton on a bomb, I don't think Brandon Allen overthrew that ball. I felt like something was weird on that route with Sutton. He quit on the route. I thought Brandon Allen put several balls today. Several balls. I mean, just right where they needed to be in the perfect spots on guys that were covered. And our receivers went up and made plays for him. So I'm happy with the performance at quarterback we have right now. We saw him get outside the pocket, scramble for a couple first downs. That's something we couldn't get with Flacco. So, I don't know. Broncos just aren't a tough enough, seasoned enough, veteraned up enough, complete team right now to know how to win in the fourth quarter. And it's hard to watch, but man, wow. Hard to watch. Little Ran man finally made it to a live feed. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you showing up. I know, let's see, what else we got in here? Hey, Stock Jockey, thanks for the shout out on the thumbs up. I appreciate that. Sutton looks fantastic. I agree. Everybody's saying, stuff like that in the stream. Looks really, really nice to have a guy like that on. And look, Tim Patrick, I mean, he's no slouch. I mean, he's the real deal. Nobody knows about him because he's been hurt. But, man. Shelby Harris, Grant Abe, 95, says has 3 sacks. What do we do? Resign him or let him walk? We resign Shelby Harris. Shelby Harris has been making big plays since he's been here. He's worth it. Now, I think letting Gotsis walk, we can probably do. I still don't know what we're going to end up doing with Wolf, but I think Shelby Harris should be a Bronco. He's a force. I mean, he can move some bodies around in there, but I don't think that we're going to be able to sign them all. That's for sure. Casey Kidd says, I respect the Broncos more with Brandon Allen than I ever did with Joe Flacco. Look, I never wanted Joe Flacco in the first place. I mean, I said it all along. I've never been a Joe Flacco fan, never wanted Joe Flacco. And I just like, I like younger quarterbacks. I like a new style of offense. I insult the prophet, Fire Fan GOASAP. Not yet, bro. But believe me, Fangio, I mean, more and more is being revealed about him. I think that you got to give a guy a couple of years. I didn't jump on Vance Joseph too much the first year because it takes a year to just kind of get yourself solidified within an organization and getting guys to buy into what you're doing and guys being pros and making the plays. I think we did get a little complacent, but look, our coaching staff put our team in a position to win the game with 3 shots at the goal line. And our quarterback made a perfect throw, and our number 1 wide receiver, our number 1 draft pick, let it dot him in the face. That's not on Fangio. Fire Fangio. Get out of here with that. Bronco J Mac 3, what's up, Bronc Nuts? And do you think Trevathan will come back? Well, hey, that's a possibility. He was on a 1-year deal. I don't know if the Bears are going to let him go. I mean, once a player kind of gets settled in a place, if he gets offered that kind of money from that team, he'll probably go. But at the end of the day, he's probably going to go to who wants to pay him the loot. And we could certainly use a guy like that. Although I thought we got good middle linebacker play today, and I thought that's what it was going to take to have a chance against the Vikings, and it happened to where Alexander Johnson, I still think that there's a little left to be desired on his instinctiveness to, I mean, look, here's the difference. What most fans don't even understand is that, Ray Lewis, let's say he's in the huddle and they call a certain defensive play, and his job responsibility is the A gap on that play. But right before the ball gets snapped, he might jump over 2 spots because he's seen something or he sniffed something out or he saw a quarterback blink his eyes or swallow hard or I don't know what the little things that these veterans pick up on. But he instinctively jumps over there and blows up the play because he knows what's coming. That's what Alexander Johnson cannot do for us right now. He's a gap responsibility, fast guy, big guy, athletic guy, and I think he's got nowhere to go but up from here because he's in on a lot of tackles. He makes plays. He's around the football. And, I mean, this is a big relief for me because I was thinking, gosh, the Broncos are so bad at middle linebacker when we had Josie Jewell in there trying to play middle linebacker that if this is all we got, I mean, we're in big trouble because we're going to have to spend cap money getting a linebacker or we're going to have to spend a high draft pick to draft one because we need a big, bad dude in there. And at least he's given us that opportunity Big Drox, donkeys choke. Yeah, I have to agree with you, man. We've choked away 4 fourth quarter leads this year. And, I mean, there's nowhere else to say it, but we choked. I mean, we're 3 penalties that shouldn't have happened and a blown 20-0 lead away from being 7-3. That's really reality. So let's talk about that a little bit. On the bright side, Broncos got some young players. I think everybody can see we got some good backs. We got some nice wide receivers. We need a little help still along the offensive line. Got to get Juwan James to earn his money here. I think, he'll be back and strong next year at some point at the end of this year maybe. Maybe we just shelf him for the rest of the year. Who knows? But he'll still be under contract. And I think we've got to spend some money on the offensive line. And I think we bring in another quarterback, not in the first round. I don't even think in the second round. But we get rid of Flacco. We come to camp with Locke, Allen, and some young guy, and maybe, a veteran that's got one leg on crutches. I mean, just for some camp meat. And we end up with 3 young quarterbacks, and we try to get somebody to emerge from that. And I don't even want to discount Brett Ripien. I think he can play in the NFL with some development too. So that's why he's on our practice squad. So I think Flacco's probably done, seen his last days here in Denver. Probably be required to show up to camp, but I think we'll probably cut him before training camp's over. But I don't think we need to make a lot of changes at coach. I don't think we need to make changes at offensive coordinator right now. I like that at least during the bye week, the Broncos took a time to create some creative things, with those passes as reverses to Cortland Sutton, and he's throwing the ball. And we did, some razzle-dazzle, some nice stuff. And that takes practice, and when you have a bye week, you can do things like that. And it's a shame that we lost that game because that's a game we dominated from ding to dong. We just didn't play well in the fourth quarter, and our offense sputtered. And when that happens, you can get beat in the NFL. Nikolai Courtney, hey, Bronc Nuts, too bad about the loss. It seems like Sutton is being used more appropriately. That's good. I feel confident about Allen. Well, it is too bad about the loss, but I do think you're right. Sutton's being used more appropriately. You guys throw him the ball. I mean, the guy's obviously displayed he's a great receiver with great ability. And I think that we're starting to use Lindsey even a little bit better. And I'd like to even see, our punt returner get more involved in. I mean, he's fast and electric. He's little, but I think we need to use him on some jet sweeps every now and then. We need to just be a little bit more creative with our playbook, with the personnel that we got. And I think we can get to that point. But this team's got to gel a little bit. This team don't really have an identity yet. We don't know who our quarterback's going to be, not only the rest of this year, but next year. I mean, how do you take the ball out of Brandon Allen's hands right now? You can't. You can't. And I have no reason to believe that Brandon Allen's not going to play good in Buffalo next week. So even if we lose that game and Brandon Allen plays as good as he played today, if he gives us the same performance he gave today, he's still my starting quarterback if I'm the GM. But if he loses and he just plays average, I mean, I think it'd be time that we need to put in Locke because we just need to see what we have. And it's nothing more than that. It ain't about winning and losing at that point because I still believe that maybe Allen would give us the best chance to win right now over making the switch to Locke. But who knows? We've only seen a little bit of Locke, but at some point we got to see him on the field because we got to see what he's got. Who else we got in here? Gary Holland, what's happening? Thanks for coming to the stream, man. You're always here. King Stacy, MC Sniper, 123. What's happening? Janovich got put on IR. I seen it. I thought that he dislocated it. Was it a dislocate or was it a broken elbow or arm? I couldn't watch the replay. I can't stomach stuff like that. I just can't watch people get hurt. I mean, I hate it when any pro player, college player gets hurt. I hate watching knees I've never seen Joe Theismann's leg break, and that thing's been on 100 times while I've been watching TV. I just cover my eyes like a little kid every single time. I even plug my ears. I don't want to hear about it. So I don't know what happened so much with Janovich, but I wouldn't be surprised he got put in the IR. And just too bad for that guy, man, because we just gave him all that money and a big contract, and he certainly earned it. But I don't know if anybody's seen the stat. I think the Broncos are averaging 2 more yards a carry when Janovich is in the game. And, I mean, that's big. He's a big piece of our offense, especially for getting a late-round draft pick. And, I mean, he could have really emerged to be one of the best fullbacks in the league. Here's the thing. At least it's his arm or his elbow or whatever. I think it's something he can recover from. It's not a knee. So Janovich will be back healthy, and he's a big force to what's going on. Bill Romanowski says, draft one of these quarterbacks coming out of Oklahoma, Georgia, Bama. Yeah, there's a lot of good quarterbacks, man. But I'll tell you what, I mean, we'll get into the quarterbacks I like. I'm still evaluating the quarterbacks, but a couple of guys that I'm really impressed with. Ole Miss's quarterback is the fastest white kid in the country. Go watch his highlight reel when he played LSU last night. Scored 4 touchdowns, ran away from the defense. I mean, he's running away from players playing at LSU. Good athletes. I like that guy. I like Purdy at Iowa State. Quick release, nice looking quarterback. I mean, to me, I've already said Burrows, I think, is the best quarterback. I didn't really like Tua. I'm sorry that he got injured, and I hope he can somehow recover from that. But I also like Jalen Hurts, and I like Herbert too. So there's some quarterbacks out there that I like. But I think right now, the class of the 2020 draft is going to be Joe Burrows. I mean, he's can't miss to me. He just looks like a surgeon out there. This guy's a good quarterback. But keep your eyes on the quarterback from Ole Miss. Guy's name is slipping me right now what it is. But he's legit. Real legit. Anyway, next, Steve Casey says... no, please don't draft a quarterback. I agree. Just not a time to draft one just yet, but not this year. But I think that there's some quarterbacks coming in more years. We got to find out more than what we've got. YCE, we did talk about Tim Patrick. Welcome to the stream. Haven't seen you here that much. Tim Patrick played a great game. So happy to see Patrick get off the IR, get healthy, finally get on the field. I know he got dinged up a little bit. We all caught our breath in that game, but Patrick is a very undervalued receiver, he's one of those guys the league doesn't know how good this guy is yet. And I'm really excited about Tim Patrick. I was excited to get him back today. And let's just hope that, we can use this as a stepping stone to build on something and stay healthy next year, because I feel real confident with Sutton and Patrick being our 2 wideouts. And now we've got 2 guys that are just really young that we can grow with, that are on rookie deals. That we've also got a couple backs that are on rookie deals, so we can maybe put something together here and get competitive in this division in the next couple of years. Big Drock says, I respect Bronco fans like you. Go Raiders. I appreciate it, man. Look, I respect all true fans of any team. I mean, you got your bandwagon fans, and you got your fans that they say they're fans but can't really tell you much about the team. I'm a super fan. I'm a guy, I live and sleep and breathe and eat and die to live in the Broncos. I mean, I'm on to every single trade, everything, move we can make, watch every play. I mean, half the time I predict the plays that we're running in our playbook. Let me go get my charger. Hold up. My battery's about to die. Let me go snatch this charger from my bedroom real quick. For those of you who haven't seen, I have a little, just like a little loft downtown. That's what it looks like. That little door right there slides open and goes out to the street. A bunch of street festivals and stuff. So that's like my living room, dining room, kitchen. And then I'll show you my little Bronco room for those of you who haven't seen it. All the jerseys, all the helmets. Fantasy U, Air Force. I played a little college baseball, so I got my stuff hanging up in here, and played in the College World Series in 1992. There's my team right there. So anyway, I just got a little place. This is where the Broncos headquarters are right now. Let me get this plugged in so we don't get disconnected. Hold up. Hang on, I screwed up. There we go. I don't know if the screen spun around on you, but it did me. All right, we're straight now. All right, let's get back to some of these comments. I'm sure I'm way behind. Dislocated arm? Okay, that's good. That's better than a broken forearm or something like that. That's good. What else we got here? LA Original, getting a good laugh. Well, here's what I said this actually right after the game. So I had some buddies of mine over. We were grilling up some burgers and eating some good food, drinking some beers. And I said, man, wouldn't this be cool somehow? Because I didn't really think going this game we were going to beat Minnesota. I mean, they're a better team than we are. I didn't see how we were going to stop Dalvin Cook. And I said, wouldn't it be cool if somehow Brandon Allen just comes out of nowhere, wins a couple in a row, and he wins this game, and somehow the Chargers beat the Chiefs on Monday night, which could happen. And next thing you know, like, the whole division would be wide open for anybody to win. And as soon as we lost, I said, the Chargers are definitely beating the Chiefs now. Because now it's going to be a situation where we could have been back in it, and we're going to be looking back at all these games that we got these phantom penalties on, and these fourth quarter leads that we blew, and look at it and see, man, we should be right in the mix of this, but we're not in the mix of this. And all we had to do, with as bad as we stumbled, was win today. And with the Chargers beating the Chiefs, we'd be just in perfect shape. So I think that's the omen now. I think Chargers going to beat the Chiefs just because we lost this type of game that we did. But who knows? I think the Chiefs got a better team. Little R Ram Man says draft in the trenches. I agree, man. That's where it's won and lost, is in the trenches. And we got to get a little bit bigger, maybe try to move Bowles inside. I mean, I've already said that I think we're going to be drafted in that top 10 area, and I think that a worthy player in there is going to be the left tackle from Georgia. The dude's a beast. I mean, he's 6'4", 3 and a queech. He's a big kid, and we could definitely use that. And I think Bowles is still an NFL quality player, but I don't think he's an NFL quality left tackle. He didn't have a lot today. I mean, he did have a false start penalty today that kind of hurt us a little bit. But I think if maybe we can move Bowles into a guard position, or even just use him for depth on a cheap contract, nobody's going to pay him the money. And we just got to get bigger and stronger and just a little bit tougher and meaner on the front line of the offense and defense. And I think the Broncos got something to build on. I mean, at the very minimum, we have a running game and a top 5 defense. And if you have those two things, you got at least some building blocks to build on. And so there's a lot of teams who would at least have that as a blueprint to move forward. And we just have to be thankful that we do have that. And we have to be, optimistic in some of these young players that we have. They are going to get better. I think Noah Fant is going to make a step next year and become more of a pro. And really, to me, it's more about concentration and just paying attention to the little details, because the little details in the NFL win and lose your football games. I mean, they just do. And so I just think that he will make that next step. But right now, it's disappointing to see him stumble the way he is, because he's killing us in a lot of drives, shutting down some third down opportunities. I mean, we had we had those big plays late in the game, and we don't manufacture any points out of it. McManus misses a field goal. It's just not our day today. Let's see. YCE says, is Noah Fant going to do great again for the last few games? I mean, we just talked about him. He's a rookie, and a little bit of that's going to come. But I just hate giving rookies that are first-round draft picks that much leniency. I mean, you're a first-rounder. Come on, just show up and be a pro. Go to work. Do what you're supposed to do here. There's a reason you were drafted in the first round. Let's see what else we got here. Damn, I'm way behind on these comments. Let's see. Bill Romanowski says, I doubt the answer to Pat Mahomes is Drew Lock, but we'll see. Don't waste a top 5 pick on Garrett Bowles 2.0. I don't think that guy's Garrett Bowles 2.0. I think he's much different of a player. And I do think he's that good, and I would be willing to spend a draft pick. And I don't think a top 5. I don't think the Broncos are going to pick top 5, but I do think we're going to pick top 10, 7, 8, 9, 10, somewhere in there. So it'll be interesting to see what we do. It definitely is. I mean, one thing that really has helped us, and it's just a thank you that Alexander Johnson has turned out to be as good as he is, because that's one spot less that we don't have to really address, which without him emerging to be the starting middle linebacker in Denver, that was maybe the first thing we had to address. And so those things are, some things that you can be optimistic about a little bit. Casey Key, like that 3 and a queech? That's what I call a quarter, a queech. Let's see. Colin Fawcett, what's going on, Broncos? That sucks. The Broncos lost. But how bad we've been this year, but I wasn't surprised we blew the lead. You know, I kind of was surprised we blew the lead. When we were up 20-0, we got the turnover going right there into half, and we got the short field. I was like, man, we're gonna win today. We're gonna win this game today. I cannot believe we're gonna beat this team in their house. This is a way better team than we have right now. But that just goes to show you that's why they play the games any given Sunday. Ball can bounce funny, turnovers. I mean, anything can happen. And you see bad teams beat good teams all the time. And I consider the Vikings a pretty good team. We had an opportunity to beat a good team today, and we didn't make enough plays in the second half to be able to do that. And that's on us. We had opportunities. And as bad as, a lot of people want to point to Noah Fant and, getting dotted in the face mask in the end zone the last play of the game, there was a lot of other plays in that game that if we made those plays, it never even came down to that. We don't throw the interception, which is also Noah Fant. It doesn't come down to that. So it's our fault for letting games come down to that. You can't let games come down to that. I mean, the NFL have said it many times. You got to play good enough to beat the other team, and you got to beat the refs. Because you have to expect you're going to get some bad calls. They happen on both teams every single weekend. Every fan that's out there is like, oh, that's a bad call. We say there's bad calls in every game I watch. We're always, that's horrible. But you know what? Sometimes I see someone, I'm like, man, we got a call right there. That's a bad call. We shouldn't have got that penalty called, where we benefited from it. It happens to every team. So you have to play good enough to beat the referees and the other team. And the Broncos just they're not doing that. Whatever. Oh, man. Who is a worse left tackle, Trent Scott or Garrett Bowles? Whew. That's a tough one. I mean, I thought Bowles had a rough patch this year. I mean, he's had that stretch where games where he had a bunch of holding calls. They're limited now. I mean, you kind of almost every left tackle is going to have a holding call at some point in the game, especially with the kind of speed these defensive ends have. But Bowles just seems to have him in big situations. It doesn't ever seem like he has him on first down. He has him on 3rd and 11. We threw a screen pass, and Lindsey shook 8 dudes to get 12 yards, and we get a holding call on the other side of the field that didn't have nothing to do with the play, and it's on number 72. That's the kind of holding calls he's getting. So, I mean, you hear a lot of people, especially Mark Schlereth, here in Denver radio, saying that, this is all technique. Bowles has the strength, he has the size, he has the speed, the athletic ability. It all comes down to technique, and he's just not making the changes that he needs to make to become the player that he needs to become. And so, it's disappointing, but I do think Bowles is an NFL quality player, and I think he can be used on your team for depth. And he can be used maybe inside more at guard where he didn't have to worry about holding a guy that's got incredible speed getting around him, because he is a decent blocker when you just have to straight up fight him man for man and just jostle him and his strength and his footwork. He's not that bad. It's when a guy's really quick getting around the edge and he doesn't get that first step to the left, and he's holding every one of them with his left arm. And so he thinks the refs are picking on him, but at home we watch those replays and Bowles is holding on most of them, but whatever. Oh, man. What else we got here? Big Drock says Darren Waller's balling out. He is, man. He is. I mean, what a hell of a find you got in that guy. The Raiders... And I'll tell you what, this is why I think the Raiders are going to be on the come-up, man, because I like Mike Mayock. I hated it when he signed with the Raiders, and I knew he was going to. But I think Mike Mayock's a hell of an evaluator of talent, and he's the only one that's got the big enough stones to tell, Antonio Brown to hit the road when they had no wide receivers, and they had, all these first-round draft picks, and kind of put a team together like they wanted to do something, which you can see they have been. To say no and let go and walk away from that directly on principle, I mean, that's a guy you can respect. I like Mike Mayock. And to find a guy like Darren Waller, who was literally laying in the gutter on drugs, and to have this guy come and do what he's done so far in your system, and that's You got to give it to Mike Mayock for just really being able to not only evaluate a guy's talent, but also evaluate his mental state, where his heart and where his mind is at the time. Raiders got a nice little piece in that guy, that's for sure. Corey Yates said, so we proved we're much better than our record, but that said, we really don't want this victory. Denver needs Drew playing. Then we need a good offseason and have a cap room, and we can be a threat next year. Well, I agree with all of that, and I guess the Broncos, selfish Bronco fan in me, also felt that way after we lost. Like, okay, well, we lost, but there was a lot of good things to hang our hat on here. There's a lot we can build on here. And the fact that we did lose just gives us better draft position. But to tell you the truth, I'd have rather won the game than lost the game. And I'd always rather win the games just because I don't ever want to see us lose. I want to see us win. And I don't care how bad our record is. We'll draft we'll worry about the draft when the draft comes around. So I never want to lose. I'm not the tank for Tua or any of those tank for anybody. No. I don't like that. That's a loser's mentality. That doesn't build a winning culture. That starts a bad trend in your organization. And to talk like that or to wish the Broncos to lose, that's a losing mentality. And I don't like that. So I'm not going to ever be that guy, but I do understand that when we lose, we kind of win at the same time. So, I'm not disappointed about the losses so much anymore when we have the record that we do. I just want to see us play well, but I did want to see us win today only because there's a lot to be settled tomorrow night. The heart of hearts of me thinks that the Chiefs just have a better team than the Chargers, and I think they're going to be too much for them to handle. I think the Chiefs are going to win the game. But I can tell you right now, Chargers got a good running game, and they can beat the Chiefs. They've got a decent defense. Chiefs are banged up a little bit, and I think that they can chase Mahomes around with the guys they got. And so we're going to see on that standpoint, and they got two backs, and one of them's running for a contract. Actually, both of them are. So I think that anything could happen in that game, and if somehow the Chargers do beat the Chiefs in that game, and we would have won today, now you're talking about with the Raiders winning today, the whole thing is just up in the air for anybody to win, and essentially choking away today, it really just, that's deflating our sails. That's now, to the point where we'd have to literally win out from here to have any shot at the playoffs, and I don't believe the Broncos are built to win out. Why would we think that they are? They haven't been able to string a bunch of games together yet, so there's no reason to think that they can win out. So I think at this point, we just hope that we put a competitive product out on the field. We don't get anybody injured. We go out and we play hard. You let the chips fall where they're going to fall. And at some point, I do agree, we got to get Drew Lock on the field just because we have to see what this kid has. We have to get him some game experience. And the only reason we have to do it is because it's going to factor in the decisions that we have to make, not only this year, but going next year. If Lock comes out for the rest of the year and he just looks terrible, like he can't play in the NFL, that changes the whole draft for us. But if he comes out and he does some nice things, and we saw Brandon Allen do some nice things, you can feel comfortable going into camp thinking, okay, well, we have a very bare bones minimum of veteran on the roster in Flacco who we're probably going to cut, but we've got a couple of young guys with some game experience that we've been able to see do a few things, so we don't have to, to pull our panties down, so to speak, to go get a quarterback. So I do think Locke needs to see the field, and like I said, I hope it's against the Chargers here in a couple of weeks. But if Brandon Allen goes and gives us the same effort he gave today, when you pile that on today's effort, last week's effort, and another good effort on the road against a tough Bills defense in their house, then I just can't take the football out of his hands at that time, and we're just going to have to let the cards fall where they fall and open the competition up in camp next year between Locke and Allen, and hopefully Locke can win that job. And you know what? Here's the thing. We all have to realize Locke may not be the guy. It might be Brandon Allen. We can't just be settled in on Locke because Locke was our draft pick and he was a second rounder. If Brandon Allen becomes a starting quarterback in Denver, from what you've seen in the last just 2 weeks, just from taking that small mark, does anybody have a problem with Brandon Allen? Because I sure don't. From what I've seen these last 2 weeks, if he can just play like that, build upon that, get a little bit more game experience, shake a guy to extend a play every now and then, which I think that's going to come with experience. Is anybody upset with the effort that we're getting from Brandon Allen? Because I'm not. Brandon Allen played plenty good enough for us to win today. He drove our team down and got us in position to win, managed the clock, didn't turn the ball over, took a sack instead of getting us, knocked out of field goal range, doing the little things that Noah Fant is not doing to help us win the football game. So I don't have a problem with Brandon Allen right now. I just want to win games, man. What else we got here? Corey H., you think we beat the Bills? I mean, I don't know why. I don't. Road game, travel the East Coast, probably the morning game again. Man, it doesn't set up good for us, but, hey, they got to play the games, whatever. Randman, you want to see come in and somebody take ownership of my team and start setting an example from the top down. Joe Ellis is not the guy. Now, that's not what I agree with. The people who are calling for Elway's head, I really don't feel like Elway's the problem. I do feel like Joe Ellis is the problem. And Joe Ellis should have never let Wade Phillips go. Should have made sure he was in here in Denver and had this defense intact after we won that Super Bowl, and somehow that didn't happen. I think Joe Ellis also had a problem with us signing Mike Shanahan, probably the reason why we didn't sign Kyle Shanahan. I don't know, how much Elway is really in charge, or if he's just the front man. And you're right, we do need somebody to take over this ownership of this team. I hope it's not Jeff Bezos. I really hope it's not, because I think I don't like that guy. I really don't. But I know he's looking for an NFL franchise, and we have one that the NFL might get involved in and force a sale, because I agree with you. I agree with you, Rand, man. If you can't have, look, there's going to be one chief, and the rest of them got to be Indians, right? That's just the way corporations work. There has to be one guy who's the boss, who's the owner. One. And that's not what we got right now. We have a boss by committee. So I think we do need to get our ownership squared away. And until we do that, I expect the Broncos to have some struggles, have some strife. And so one of these family members has either got to emerge, and we've got to turn the power over to one of them daughters, or the Broncos got to be sold to somebody who can really help us get to the next level. I'd love to see the Mannings try to pool their money together and buy up the Broncos. I don't know, between him, Archie, and Eli, when he's done, you think they got that kind of loot? Maybe. Joe Ellis said that being the Broncos owner is a big and unimportant job. It's not unimportant. You need to have one owner. You like and respect Joe Ellis, MC Sniper? You think he's part of the combination of why we've struggled to post Super Bowl 50? Yeah, I think he's part of the problem. I'm not a fan of Joe Ellis. I'm really not. I am a fan of Elway, but I'm not a fan of Joe Ellis. Look, like I've told you, I've had some conversations with some ex-Denver Broncos who are in the inside of things. I hunt with a couple of them. And I'm not going to tell you who they are, and they've told me things about the Ellis, Elway, Shanahan family, the things that are really going on that you don't hear in the news. And they've told me that, they told me that Vance Joseph was not Elway's hire. Elway never wanted to hire him in the first place. Never wanted him. But he got pressured into hiring him. And I don't know why. I don't know if his family had some sort of connection to him through something. I don't know why. But they said it wasn't Elway's hire. Now, I think Fangio was Elway's hire. So, he's going to have to be judged over this hire. And I think in the end, Fangio's going to be okay. He's going to do all right here. But, I'm not anointing this guy, but I think we need to stick. We've had a lot of turnover. Listen, we've had a lot of turnover with head coaches since the Super Bowls. And it's time for us to just take a seat, and we got to, you got to dance with the one that brought you. And I think Fangio is willing to row this boat with us, and I think that we'll continue to improve and get better. But I don't think we need to make radical changes anywhere. We just need to execute a little bit better and fill in some of the gaps and some of the places where we're weak. And I think the Broncos are plenty enough competitive to beat any team out there. I really do. I don't think there's a team in the NFL that we can't be competitive with. I don't think we can win a lot of football games. We can let a lot of people run for their money, and I think that we got something to build on there. So, anyway, let's see. Who we got saying stuff here? Sign Colin Kaepernick, Big Drox 100. I've said this, and I want to preface this by letting y'all know there's not a racist bone about me. I don't care what color these guys are that are in any of these uniforms. I love all Broncos. And if you can play, I love you. If you can't, I hate you. But there's two guys that if John Elway signs either of these two guys, I'll announce it right here. I will call for John Elway's firing, and I'll quit being a Broncos fan if they sign Colin Kaepernick or Cam Newton. Because I don't want the sideshow that goes with either one of them. They're too much about look at me, look at me, look at me. And I just don't feel like that is what a leader is made of. That's not what leaders of these quarterbacks of these teams do. I don't like either one of those guys at all. And I don't want them here in Denver. And if they came here to play, I'd be so uninterested as a Broncos fan, I literally would just stop watching them. Because I can't watch either one of them. I can't watch either one of them because I don't respect the players and the people and the sideshow that they are. That's it. I mean, I don't see anybody really kneeling for the cause that Colin Kaepernick made this whole stir to begin with. I mean, Colin Kaepernick has kept himself out of the league. And then to switch the spot because of his own film crew and the whole deal, I mean, the whole thing's a sideshow. I'd be surprised if anybody signs him. But I sure hope that Cap doesn't come here, man. I really hope he doesn't come here. And I don't think he's going to. I don't think we have anything to worry about. We're not signing either one of those two guys. I think Elway would know the fan base would erupt if we grabbed either one of them, so whatever. William Conley, I'm not a hater. I don't think Cap's that good. I really don't. And I think, look, I know we went to the NFC Championship game, and I know that he played good when he was playing in the height of his career, but the man's been out of football for 3 years. And just to even come out and to say the things that he said, I mean, look, he's kind of been quiet this whole time, and all he needed to do was just come out, let his film that he put out there do the talking, and he didn't have to go through that whole post-workout press conference and come at it with the vigorousness that he did, and maybe somebody would have taken a chance on it. I think Kaepernick ruined his chances. I really do. I just think the NFL doesn't want players like that on their team, and as a fan, I don't want it. I don't want the sideshow that he brings. I just don't feel like that's good leadership for a team. I don't think that that's what your quarterback and the face of your franchise should be all about. I don't like Johnny Manziel for the same thing. I don't like any of those flashy guys. I like guys that just, they're a good face for the team. They're leaders, they're hard workers, and they're not about look at me. They're more about look at our team. It's the reason why, as much as I hate Kermit the Frog, I can respect Mahomes a little bit. Because I think Mahomes is a good leader, right? I mean, he just comes out and he does his job, and he does it really well. And I think you can say that about all the good quarterbacks. I mean, yeah, you have Aaron Rodgers with the check, discount, double checker, but those are small little things. The whole Superman and look at me, let me go over and sign this ball. I know that those are good things, but look, you don't have to be... Good character is doing it when nobody's looking. He knows everybody's looking on Sunday afternoon. That's all I'm saying about Cam. And I don't like it. And for me, the biggest thing with Cam is that he sealed his deal as a competitor for me. When he didn't jump in that pile for that fumble, when all the chips were on the line, after all the torn hamstrings and hours sat in the cold tubs and being rubbed down by trainers and sprained ankles and bruised hips and jammed fingers and weights and the workouts and the two-a-days and the early mornings and the training camp, the grind of an NFL season, to not jump in that pile with all... I don't want a guy like that on my team. You better lose your arm. Like they say, come back with your shield or on it. Die on it! He wasn't willing to die on it that day. I don't want a guy like that on my squad. So, whatever. Cap is crap. Oh, man. MC Sniper said, I was going back and reading some of these comments. MC Sniper asked me, Broncos, do I not like Joe Ellis because he declined the idea of John Elway trying to bring back Mike Shanahan at the end of 2017. Well, that's part of it, because I think that Joe Ellis did have a personal issue, and I think that, when you want to win, you just got to set those things aside. You got to let bygones be bygones. I mean, they invited Shanahan back to the practice facility and said he was always welcome here. And, look, none of us know all the details that went down, and there's two sides to every story. There's Joe Ellis's side, and there's Mike Shanahan's side, and then there's the truth, which is somewhere in the middle. And I just think that at the time, with the disarray that we were in, we just needed somebody with a steady hand to come in and right the ship. And I think Shanahan would have been a good choice for that. I think Bronco fans would have welcomed it. So I didn't like, just this how much he was against it, but I really didn't like about not keeping Wade Phillips here, because I think we had the ability to do that, and I think that Ellis had the ability to do that, and he didn't do it. And I just think that, look, I know Ellis was good buddies and everything with Bolin. I'm sure that they had a lot of private conversations that none of us will ever be privy to. And who knows what Bolin told him in those conversations about how he wanted things done. But at the end of the day, Bolin's not here now. He's not the sole owner and in control. We don't have a point man that's making all of the decisions. And when you don't have that, like I said, I think you got a bunch of Indians and no Chiefs, and I think that's a problem for any type of organization, whether you're running a hot dog stand or you run an NFL franchise. It has to be one boss and the rest, one chief, the rest got to be Indians, and Broncos don't have that situation. So that one's hard for me to really to say. You'd rather have Tim Tebow with one leg than Cap. Now, see, that's taking it too far. That's taking it too, because I'd rather have Cap. I'd rather Captain Keith than Tebow. Although Tebow did win a playoff game here. So, which is the same amount of playoff games that Patrick Mahomes has won in the same amount of years. So, I'm just saying. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, Sniper, I feel what you're saying, that you should like Shanahan, and maybe he's not the coach that he once was, but I don't know. I think he's a creative mind, and I don't think that the game's changed that much. I think Shanahan's still on the pulse of what's going on. I think he still really pays attention to pro football, and I just wanted someone to manage the clock and challenge flags and timeouts properly, and let's start there. And that's the things that we weren't doing well. Now, I got to say that it's noticeably better this year, but I mean, even today in that last minute and 50 seconds where, we challenged a play that didn't look like it needed to be challenged, which burned one of our timeouts, which we could have used there at the end of the game to get an extra play. We're still doing a little bit of that wrong. But, hindsight's 20/20. I think calling the challenge there on a play that I don't think that we ever thought was going to be overturned. We didn't need the timeout at the time because we had about a minute and 50 seconds left, and we were already on about the 30-yard line. So time's not really a factor. And then there was a play that we could have challenged on that first down when it ended up being 4th and 1. We ended up getting the first down, but I mean, there could have been, a situation there, because I do think that we got the first down there late in that drive. So I still think that, that's the reason why I wanted Shanahan, is just for his steady hand of coaching in big games. But I think we need some new blood around here, and I think in the end, having Fangio, I think, is a good move for us. So we'll see. Let's see what else we got here. Isaiah Aguilar, what's happening? Still got to come down to the rest. The kid out of Clemson's damn good. Think he'd be good for Denver? Well, he's a sophomore, bro. So he won't be able to be declared for the draft until next year, which is the reason why I want to see Drew Lock play. Because then we can make a decision where, well, if Lock doesn't look like the guy that we need, we could maybe trade down one of that top pick we're going to have this year, that top 10 pick, and trade it away for a pick next year to get 2 first-rounders, to get some bargaining chips to move to the top of that one to take a Trevor Lawrence. So I think we've got to see Drew Lock play, because it makes a difference in the decisions that we make a year or two down the road, because we are going to have to take a franchise quarterback to build a team and a franchise around here, and I don't know if he's on the roster right now or not. But whatever. Let's see what else we got. I'm still here, Fizzle. Still here. Anyway, I think, we've gone about an hour. I don't really like to bore y'all with I mean, come on, man. You can watch ESPN and get probably better commentary that you get here. But I want to thank everybody for joining the stream. It always makes me feel good when I see all you guys come in after the game and just come in and you know, chew it up with me a little bit. A couple new ones just coming in. Groove 269 Chief Ridgeway. And I just really, I really like it that you guys come in and give me your opinion. I like talking about the Broncos and talking about football and talking about what happened today and where we're at. But I'm going to wrap it up for tonight. And it's going to be a hard one to swallow. You know, just sucks to have this losing record when we know that we're really a better team than what the record shows. But it is what it is. You are what you are in the NFL. And right now, we're 3-7, and what we really are is a pile of dog shit. This is the OG Bronc Nuts from the 719 West checking up out of here. Broncos have to hold this L again. Getting old. I'm out. See you tomorrow, suckers.